morning. I'm just waiting for those on Discord to join us. You're so pretty. Thanks. Um, I kind of feel like one of those influencers doing a get ready with me and being on TikTok live, as I wait for people to join class. Hmm. Okay, so my peeps. Today we're looking at question 2. Or just before we get started, I wanted to tell you guys something that I found interesting. So, I recently found out about this thing. It's like this huge ball thing in Las Vegas, but it's like a huge like screen thing. And someone like as it's doing transitions, someone actually recorded the thing, and you can't really see that there are words up on the screen, um like generally, but someone recorded it and then slowed it down, and there are a bunch of words that like they just like flash words on the screen, and the words are coupled with different fonts and different colors. um And something I found really interesting was the like they would take things that generally have negative connotations and things that have, and then some idea, and then they'll put like one of those words in the one of those positive words next to all the negative words, which can have a psychological impact. So I thought that was quite interesting. Anyway, so today we're looking at question 2 of our paper 1, and we've already broken it down. So I'm just going to be giving people feedback. So those who have posted on the Discord, you will be getting feedback. If you have not yet posted on the Discord and you want to post in the Discord, let me give you the link to where you should post it. Um, okay, I'm putting it in the chat here. Doodle-doodle-doo. Okay, I think that should give you access. If it doesn't give you access, just tell me, okay? And then I'm going to share my screen. Let's see who we're looking at first today. Gonna look at Seed of Success. Let's see, this should open. Okay, cool. I've got it open and I'm going to share my screen. Oh wait, that is the wrong screen. Let's just fix which screen I'm sharing. Everyone's very quiet today. Maybe I'm not able to hear anyone. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Cool. And I don't know where the rest of the Discord people are, but it's fine. Fabulous. Let's go. So, I think receipt of success. I think that's the username. I have my thing on streamer mode, so I can't actually see. It starts with an S and it's got like a Minecraft looking person. So, the text is written in a form of a biological newspaper article, which we can see through key conventions like the mostly chronological ordering and the heading. This form shows us the intention of the text, which is both to record the details of someone's life and to educate the intended audience. Um, okay. It also might serve as entertainment or inspiration for some people, and I think that's very important. The fact that it does serve as inspiration to some. Okay. As the text lists the achievements of Shabnam Ismail's life, as well as some of the obstacles she overcame, such as coming from a small community in a predominantly male sport, and how she rose above and made her career stand out. There is a specific audience of sport enthusiasts, further narrowed by the fact that it is a newspaper and also limited by the biographical nature. Um, okay, yeah, so we're going into who specifically the audience might be. Um, Limited by the biographical nature and I suppose people's interest. It's probably what you're going for there. This means that the target audience is specifically for people seeking inspiration or background knowledge of a sport hero. Um, they don't necessarily need to be looking for it in particular, but they might just be open to hearing about it. Um, In order to appeal to this audience, the writer uses language and structure to increase the interest in the article. Okay, so that would be your topic sentence for that paragraph. The title Fast Times with Shabnam Ismail is catchy and grabs attention, and the paragraph that follows provides a short overview of what the text is about. The fact that it is written in italics helps it to draw attention, and the combination of these features helps to ensure that the target audience knows what the text is about and piques their curiosity. Okay. It would be great if you use. I mean, that's fine actually. Um, just try to use some more technical terminology there. Um, and the paragraph that follows provides a short overview of what the text is about. The fact that it is written in italics helps to draw attention, and the combination of these features help to ensure that the target audience knows what the text is about and piques their curiosity. I'm not sure whether italics as a subheading necessarily draws attention. Um, or the I think it might be I don't know, adding some extra it might be as a form of parenthesis. What do you think, Sydney? Oh wait, you're not talking much. Anyone else? What did you guys say for why it would be um why did you think it would be what is the thought I'm having? What did you say about the reason for that? Yes, I can. Yeah. Well, okay, so it's a part of the form. Oh, okay. So Bobby is struggling to get the paper. I don't know why the link isn't working. Sorry about that. The paper. Oh, gosh. Um, it's the May June 2024 paper 1-2. If someone does get the link, can you also just post it there in the chat? Unfortunately, I can't send it there right now. Okay, so I do think that you're absolutely right. It does have a lot to do with the conventions. Um, like that is very normal for that type of text. It is a newspaper article and like an online newspaper. Shadow Studio says the reason I said it draws attention was because the italics sets it apart from the rest of the text. It kind of draws your eyes there, but it's not the same as the rest of the text. And yes, it does draw attention, but I don't know if that is necessarily the goal of the italics. Um, but I suppose to a degree, we could maybe make an argument for it because it um it's almost like read this first so that we can you have some kind of understanding of what's happening. Um so yeah, it does really illuminate the importance of that piece. So okay. So, in order to appeal to its audience, the writer uses language and structure to increase the interest in the article. I read that the rhetorical question, a what, is both a short sentence and a full paragraph, which is used to prevent the opening of the text from getting too monotonous or reminiscent. Um, this helps to keep the audience from losing focus or interest. Furthermore, the statement "you are unlikely to guess" in the second paragraph directly involves the audience as it engages them and provides a short challenge to them, implying that they should guess and then keep reading to see if they were right. Okay. Um, Cool. I'm going to keep reading. Language is also like nothing wrong with that. Language is also used to keep the audience interested as well as fulfilling the purpose of informing the reader, as jargon such as batters and bowlers will be familiar to sport fans. But these terms are also explained in the footnote in order to educate any curious readers who are unfamiliar with the jargon. Shared resources serve the same purpose, as some readers will be familiar with Björn Hendricks, Vernon Philander, and Yassine Valley, I don't know, while it educates reader on how Shabnan is connected to them. These shared resources, I don't know if resources is the right word. Frame of reference. Perhaps I should have tied it to grabbing attention to the purpose of forcing the reader to understand the context. My daughter is about to come into my room. No, she's not. Reader to understand the context, explaining what the text is about. Yeah, I think it does grab attention, but what I'm noticing with your thing is, and this is generally the case with most middling marks students. If you're someone, I don't know if you've done any mock exams or whatever, but generally people who are going to get middling marks will focus quite heavily on the audience needs to be engaged. And I mean, it makes sense. If in our day and age, what is the main thing that we see I mean, we spend a lot of time on social media. I do, at least. And what we're trying to do in all advertising and all of it is catch the reader's attention. We want people to be engaged. We want people to stop scrolling and look at what we have to say. And so, yes, there is an element of that, but that is not all of it. And it's important to remember that not everything is about just capturing their attention. A lot of it is, so that wasn't necessarily to capture their attention, it was to provide them context for further understanding. And the fact that it is in italics, yes, that does draw their eyes there. And so that graphological feature is important there because it draws their attention there, and we as the writer as the writers are able to direct the eyes and the attention of our audience. But more than that, the point of it was not to draw their attention. We draw their attention for what? Not so that they keep reading. We draw their attention in this case so that it provides them with the context which makes the rest of the text relevant and clear. Does that make sense? So it's actually it's a very difficult thing to articulate. Just as a teacher, I find it very difficult to articulate where people are going wrong. Because I can see, you see, as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, this is good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not overly right. Okay, and I'm sorry for like calling you out online. Like it's an opportunity for me. It's an opportunity to share a real practical example of just small changes that can really impact your thing. And it's not a matter of I must say this, I must stop doing this, I must do this. It is think bigger. Okay, and I just be putting myself out there, like being totally honest. I really, really struggle with the pressure of text analysis. It is my absolute favorite thing to teach. You can ask my students sometimes if I just do not feel like teaching writing, which I love writing, but I struggle with writing. I struggle to teach writing because while I write well, I am married to a writer. And so my writing will never be as good as Katashka's. Like, just it's never going to match up. And so I'm like, Katashka, come and teach. Come and have the session. And she's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, but like, please, I just can't do it today. I think I need to go to court. Like sometimes when I go to court, then she takes over. But the thing is, it's a difficult thing for me too, because I feel like I'm putting myself out there, and it's it's really, I'm putting myself out there for people to evaluate my thinking. Am I able to use my higher order thinking? And that's the biggest challenge here. We're not trying to prove that we know, we see the effects. We're not trying to prove that we can see all of these things. We're trying to show that we can think about how language is used to manipulate our audience. And I love saying manipulate because people get like a little bit weird about it. But it's not necessarily manipulation. It is okay, it is manipulation, but not manipulation in the bad sense, because manipulation has a negative connotation. Um, but it really is what it is. We're trying to make people feel and think a certain thing. And in this case, we have the subheading, the subtitle thing, so that we can get people to understand better. I am now explaining this. I am telling you how my personal struggles so that I can make you feel more at ease in your own struggles. Okay. Um, if anyone did get that link to that paper, could you just post it here in the chat? Um, yeah, I will sort that out just now to make sure that everyone can get it. Um, okay. So let's share my screen again. So language was used to keep the audience interested. Okay, you sent the link. Thank you. Oh, maybe it's I'm just not seeing it. Okay. Language is also used to keep the audience interested as, okay, we read that. In keeping with the form of an article, short paragraphs are used, which is a common feature of such text. Okay, so this helps to counterbalance the slow pace created by the long sentences used. Now, we need to probably at this point talk about the fact that it is an interview. It is in the form of an interview. It is biographical, it is telling a story, but it is in the form of an interview. This helps to counterbalance the slow pace created by the long sentences used. By doing this, the mood does not become monotonous, and the text does not bore the reader. Yes, we do not want to bore the reader. Okay. Um, this also helps to keep the informative tone from becoming too educational and keeps it interesting. Okay. I like that. That's an interesting idea. We can also see direct quotations, which help to provide multiple opinions and stop the text from feeling like a lecture. I don't agree with that. And when I don't agree with it, as when I'm marking, if I don't agree with something, I just disregard it. Okay, so we can also see direct quotations, which help to provide multiple opinions and stop the text from feeling like a lecture. Now, a lecture is a totally different format. It does not give. If I removed the quotations and gave indirect quotations, or I indirectly said what those people said, it would not become like a lecture. It would not feel like a lecture. Okay. Now, there's a semantic field of speed and fast living, visible from the connotations of words such as momentum and everything changed. This is used indirectly to convey to the reader how her career seemed to suddenly took off. Okay, let me just help out with this. This is used indirectly to convey to the reader how her career suddenly seemed to. Now we've got seemed. Her career seemed to suddenly take off. That's going to be present tense. This is juxtaposed with how long it took for her to get there and aids the intention of providing inspiration to the audience. Okay, now, Okay. In conclusion, the text is written in the form of a biographical newspaper article, which aids the purpose of informing and inspiring the target audience of young adults and sports enthusiasts. The structure helps to organize ideas and prevent the text from getting too monotonous. Now, throughout your whole piece, you've used British spelling conventions. Keep with it. And prevent the text from getting too monotonous. And the language contains emotive features which aid the inspirational aspects of the text. Okay, I'm going to need a moment. I've got a couple more thoughts. I just want to kind of gather my thoughts on this. And I just want to check that you can get my thing. So just give me a sec, okay? Because my website might be down today. I'm just checking. No, it is not down. Uno momento. Okay, I want to know, can you guys quickly, I'm actually going to do a poll here. Um, so I just created a poll here. I know there aren't that many of you watching right now, but should I spend more time on how this would be um, LT, you can come in and tell me quick. Um, Tell me quickly how, yeah, and then I'm just quickly going to post your questions here. And I'm going to have space today for any questions about paper one. Because today we're finishing with paper one and then we're starting with paper two. Okay. Just give me a sec. Okay, cool. My daughter is turning 8, and so she just got her first computer, and we spent yesterday afternoon installing Linux for her, um because yeah, fun times. Okay, I'm just quickly finishing this so that I can give you the memo quickly, because I want you to be able to follow along easily. What's wrong? I'm on the chair. Hmm. This tab is currently busy. It's very, very weird. But okay. Um, just give me a sec. Sorry that I'm taking a moment to do this. In the meantime, oh, there we go. I've got it. Oh, much better. Sorry, my computer's giving me troubles today. Which is why I cancelled yesterday. Like, everything was just going wrong. And sometimes that just happens, especially when I insist on doing things like running Linux. Okay, it's an obsidian. Drag and drop. I'm just going to send you guys a link to the stuff. Um, Okay, I think I've got both of them now. So there's a pop-up somewhere that's not working. Okay, guys, we're going to take a brief reprieve from this. Sydney, could I ask you a favor? Could you quickly jump onto Facebook and just onto YouTube and just tell them I just have to restart my computer quick. Something's messing out. Okay. Can you also, you've got access to my admin profile of Threndel, hey? Of threndel.co.za. Threndel.com. Hello, can everyone hear me now? Am I back? Okay. I think I will definitely show you that bigger thinking. I'm just going to post this here. This will give you the grade threshold, which I want to explain quickly. And I want to and it's the things that you can download. Um Go back to it later because there are some questions I want to add to it, but I just kind of made it on the fly while I was downloading this stuff. The point that my computer bombed out. Um, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I wrote. Okay. And as always, I didn't over edit mine or anything. I didn't want to overdo it because I want you to see kind of that sometimes what I write also sucks. Um, my biggest problem when I'm writing, especially when it comes to text analysis, is I have too many thoughts. It's actually my problem in all of life. Too many thoughts. Sorry, shaking screen. Okay. So I'm going to share that with you, and then I'm going to share what I've written, and then I'm going to go through the mark scheme and kind of show you what they're looking for. Or maybe we can go through the mark scheme first, look at what they're looking for, and then we can evaluate mine within that. Okay. So let me quickly paste that mark scheme here. I think I'm fine. By the way, for anyone who's interested, the program I use for all this, like editing and writing and stuff, is Obsidian. I do have some tutorials on how to use it. I love it. It's free. It's great. Okay, so here's our mark scheme. Let's look at question 2. We're actually going to open it in full. Because it is in landscape. Okay, so here, if we look at this, let's just make it a little bit smaller so that my face doesn't cover it. So if we look at this, we're marking according to table C, which I'll show you below. It's for 25 marks. It needs to address the style, form, genre, structure, and language of the text. Now you notice the question says language, form, and structure. But here we need to look at style, form, genre, structure, and language. So language, cool. Form, we understand what that is. Now, form and genre are different. So the form of the text is the newspaper article. The genre is how it's an interview style and it's got a biographical bent to it. And style every writer has a style, and we want to evaluate that style and how it comes through, how the personality of the writer comes through, how it's all working together. And this is in our previous, I don't know, before 2020, the exams used to be style and language or something. I can't actually fully remember. Okay, so we want to look at how they create meaning in relation to the audience and the purpose. So we specifically want to connect them to the audience and the purpose. Okay, so it's given us some examples of things that we can include, but it's not exhaustive. Now, when I mark, a couple of years ago, I did like a Cambridge marking course specifically for this exam. I was like, okay, well, I try to do some professional development every year, and that was my professional development that year. It was fun. Actually, it was awful. I had to mark so many exams. How many did I mark? 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 exams. And I had to like basically make a case for why I made every decision I made, which was fun. Anyway, so we look at form. So we look at the typical text conventions used in the article, the ways in which the purpose affects the content and style of the text. So how is this purpose going to affect what I write about? How is it going to affect how I write it? Okay. And the ways in which the article appeals to its intended audience. So how is it kind of vibing with that audience? Okay, so how is it doing it? It's using tone, it's using register. Okay, so I will use my tone and register to talk about how it's appealing to that audience. Okay, so why does I specifically want you to talk about, so when we're looking at the bigger thing, we're looking at how is it that this thing is more useful to this specific audience? Why is it so great for this audience in particular? Because nothing is written for just everyone. Okay, even things that are written for just everyone are not written for just everyone. We all have an audience in mind. And then any other relevant aspect of the form. So, like Sydney was saying, Sydney was talking about the fact that, what was Sydney saying? Oh, so Sydney was talking about the fact that when it comes to the form, the italicized thing, the italicized subheading, was quite fitting because that is a very general way, like that's one of the conventions of that text type. It's how it's done, it's just the norm. Okay. Now, if we look at structure, the use of a title to introduce the article. Obviously, we talk about our title, the way the opening paragraph introduces the interviewee. So it's this specifically brings in the whole idea of it being an interview. Okay. The way in which the text is structured to engage the reader and hold their interest. Okay, so and remember, this is specifically this reader, and I liked how Shadow broke it down and said, okay, this is specifically doing this, and at this point, this is being used because it's engaging the audience, it's holding their interest. But obviously, we can't make our whole thing about that. Okay. Now, anecdotes. Wait, the way in which the article is structured non-chronologically to build up a picture of Shabnam's prowess in cricket. So we're looking at how it's. So you'll notice when I talk, when I share mine, that I really show the development of the cricket career. Okay, and then here's another structural thing anecdotes and the shift between these and the interview. So how are the different anecdotes moving from one place to the next? Okay. Any other relevant structural features in the text? Okay. Now, in terms of language, we've got the pun in the title, Fast Times. Okay, so that is something we could look at, and that bit of humor, what does it do? If we are taking it further, we want to look at, okay, what does it do? What is it related to? We've got this Fast Times is talking about today. We're talking about sport. It's very sporty language. And so the contrast in the subtitle, from playing in the streets with boys to becoming a speed demon feared by batters across the world. Okay, now we've got this from one thing, streets with boys, to becoming a speed demon feared by batters across the world. So that's almost it does exaggerate a little bit. It's quite cute, quite cutesy, very demure, not very demure actually. Um, so it's really introducing this thing, but we've got this contrast. Why is that contrast there? Not just that the contrast is there, but what is it doing? Okay, how is it working with the whole? If I am looking at my higher order thinking, I want to know that you understand the psychological impact that this is going to have on the reader. Okay, the direct address at the beginning of the article to engage the reader, you wouldn't be surprised. Now, speaking to the reader, speaking directly, let me just quickly go look at the original text. What was it? My backlinks in this thing are very, very messy. Sort them out. You won't be surprised to hear that Shabnam Ismail's first paid job had something to do with speed. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're speaking directly to the audience. The direct address of the audience makes them feel as if they are part of, it's written specifically for them. And what this does is it's a style thing, because it's connecting directly with the audience. It's making them feel relevant. It kind of sets it up for the conversational tone of the whole piece. Okay. I've moved down accidentally. Anecdotes with familiar vocabulary, repetition of different, so giving a homespun feel. Let's quickly look. Anecdotes with familiar vocabulary, the repetition of different, giving a homespun feel. Let's go look at where that is. I used to drive out and meet different people and go to different areas within Cape Town. I quite enjoyed it. Okay. And I'm not actually sure how we would talk about that one. But we're telling the stories. Okay, let's start with the anecdotes. So if I'm talking about the anecdotes, how I would have, I think I actually did mention it. Um, she's There's this conversation about life and like normal day-to-day life. And I met different people, I went to different areas, and it creates this variety. It feels very natural and normal, and like we're having a conversation, and that style is coming through. And it's not just basically, I think to a degree, the interviewee is matching the tone or style of the interviewer. And they're kind of like matching each other. And that this is a normal convention, normal thing that happens, or um, there's a word that I'm thinking of. It's a normal thing that happens when we're having conversations with people. We match them, especially if you're neurodivergent. But okay, now colloquialisms, we've got vibe and rag. So these are things that we can talk about, and how this lowers the point of entry for this article. Remember when we were going through it, I said it's actually very easy to interact with. It's easy to understand. It's very accessible. Okay, so then we've got references to Shabnam being competitive. So there to be the best, a competitor, passion, resourcefulness. Okay. And so what this does is it builds up the character, and what is the goal here? So you see, I've got this thing that's been identified, but what are we trying to do? The writer is trying to get us to connect with the reader, with the interviewee, but also trying to get us to understand who they are as a character. And we want to learn about them. We want to be inspired by them. So there to be the best, that is inspirational. A competitor, okay, instead of a participant. Why did we say a competitor instead of participant? Passion, resourcefulness. These are all positive, positive words, and they have positive connotations. So all of these competitive ideas are touted as something positive. Okay, we've got vocabulary related to speed. So we've got faster and faster. We've got speed demon. Okay, so this is a lexical field. I would say a lexical field related to field, to speed. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe it's not big enough for that. There was another example though. Yeah. Anyway, so they've broken up the lexical field. But this is there. I suppose this might also be a limited one. But lexical field related to cricket, we've got batter bowler series. They've just got a couple of words related to it, and I just want to say that by having a very limited lexical field related to cricket makes it accessible to people who do not know the sport. Okay. So if you tell me about runs, I know that a run is something, it's like when they run in cricket. What a run does, why they do it, I do not understand. What is a good amount of runs, I do not know. For me, it's like, okay, they're hitting the ball, and then you go for a run while someone's getting the ball. And I mean, that's a great idea, but like I would say just go for a run a marathon. But each to their own. So now they've got this lexical field. Now we can contrast this with the more familiar vocabulary. Okay. Then we've got, so all of these things, these aren't things that you have to have. They are just things that are nice to have, and they're useful to have. Okay. So these are things you could have spoken about. But none of these things matter if you don't take it further. If you just name these things, I'll show you now what will happen. Okay. So the tension in the friendly boy-girl rivalry, I was just a little girl. He used to hate that about me. Playing with the boys definitely made me stronger. Okay. And the fact that the boys are called boys, and it's almost there's definitely some gender politics happening. If it was a paper 4, I would definitely explore that. So we've got this emphatic alliteration: coaxed, cricket, coaching, cultivating. the alliteration, mentioning it is not enough. We need to go further. What is it doing? It's not just drawing our audience in, it's not keeping them engaged, but it does increase the flow of the writing. And it does make it more catchy. It makes it easier to follow. It's quotable. Okay. Language showing the relationship between Shabnam, her mother, and family. So mom is my role model. I've got all of her genes inside of me. Okay. And so we've got this, again, her mother and her family. Great. We've got this language, but what does it do? It makes us see her as it makes us see her as a person. It makes us get to know who she is and what she's all about. Okay. Now, when we're marking this, we're marking on this table, okay? So we don't start at 5 and take away marks, okay? So what we'll do is we mark you for where you're at. Now, there are some people who will start at 3 and move down and up. I generally don't do that. Like when I read your thing, I'll be like, okay, this is pretty clear. I get where it's at. This is, they've kind of gotten where they're at. Okay, so let's start it clear. Clear understanding of text. You do understand the meaning, you understand the context, you understand the audience. You do understand the characteristic features, and you do reference them. Now, I could move that up. Was it a very effective reference to characteristic features? Could you, did it fully achieve its purpose? Or was it just there? Okay. If it was a detailed understanding, it's very different from a clear understanding, because a clear understanding is, I get this. A detailed understanding is understanding those nuances, and that's that deeper thinking. Okay. And I mean, that might get you that's your 3 and a 4. To get a 5, you need to have a sophisticated understanding where you really need to be able to see, okay, this is this, which leads to this, which leads to that. So it's not just the one step, but it's this step, which leads to that, which leads to that. So I want to see multiple steps of thinking and effects. Okay. Now, if we're looking at the different components that we're in our analysis, we're looking at the structure. How well did you structure it? Okay. Did you repeat yourself a lot? Or did you say language, form, and structure, break it down like that, which is fine, but then you need to do it well. Whatever structure you used, was it, some people do like a chronological structure where they'll say, do paragraph by paragraph and break it down like that. You'll see when I read you mine just now, I break it down into like a Clegpo structure, which I don't always do. I just felt like doing it this time. Okay. Insightful selection of elements of form, structure, and language of analysis. So we're looking at which things are you selecting. Okay. So which elements are you selecting? And the insightful comes from, did you select elements that are really showcasing the effect it has on the audience, the effect it has on the purpose? Because we want to look at choices of form, structure, and language to produce meaning and style. Okay, how do these choices change the meaning? How did they create, how do they produce this style? Okay, we're looking at stylistic choices, how the style relates to the audience and shapes meaning. Okay. Precise and fully appropriate language to link evidence with explanatory comments. So sometimes you have ideas, but you don't quite have the vocab to go with it. And so you need to use the vocab, get a word list. I think there's an OCR one that's pretty good. That gives you a lot of the terminology. Okay. So then we break it down like that. Often, even if you're getting good marks here, a lot of people are losing marks on the AO3. But you'll see that your AO, what you're getting for AO1 is generally quite close to what you're getting for AO3. Now let's look at my thing that I wrote. No. Okay. Has anyone got any questions? Let me quickly check if there are questions before I read mine. Okay. In the interview-based sports article featuring South African cricketer Shabnim Ismail, the author skillfully employs a blend of conversational language, structural techniques, and personal anecdotes. So I'm looking at what is being used. So conversational language, structural techniques, and personal anecdotes to engage a broad audience. So I'm kind of going for it's a broad audience. Okay. Why did I see that? Why did I say that? We'll see as I go through why I said it was a broad audience. Okay. I'm actually just going to tag these. Oh, I might do this later. Let me just do this one. Okay. Through careful use of lexical fields, juxtaposition, and denotative and connotative meanings, those are very important, and I'm making sure here that I'm staying focused, that I will talk about them. Okay. The article emphasizes Ismail. So what are these things doing? They are emphasizing Ismail's resilience and determination. So who they are, and these are good things, while highlighting the broader themes of gender, competition, and success in sports. Okay. So I felt like that was really what we were going for. I felt like that was the subject and what the message was that they were trying to work at. Okay, by combining the storytelling elements of an interview format with journalistic reporting, the text effectively engages different reader groups, creating a narrative that is both inspirational and informative. Okay, this essay explores how the audience purpose, text type, and linguistic strategies work together to shape the meaning and impact of Ismail's story. Now, I left in my paragraph labels because I like to label my paragraphs and then delete them later. But I wanted to show you, I don't generally like when people say this essay explores or this essay, but I wanted to show you an appropriate way of doing it. This was the way that was accepted when I was at university. I don't like it. It's a stylistic choice, but I wanted to show you the appropriate way to do it. If you're going to start your thing with saying in this essay, I will, rather don't. Okay. So when in doubt, don't say this essay explores. Yeah, just say the thing. Now, by targeting a wide-ranging audience, the article reaches not only sports enthusiasts, but also readers interested in stories of personal triumph and overcoming adversity. So what I've done here is I have pointed out that it is relevant to not just the sports audience, but also the self-help audience and the people who do the inspirational stories audience. The author achieves this by balancing technical sports references with human interest elements. Okay, so we've got a few there, and I should have actually mentioned this limited. So I could have actually mentioned the limited lexical field of cricket. And the fact that it is limited is there. Then the human interest element, making the text accessible to both niche and general audiences. Now, human interest elements, what I meant by that is the real life. So I could have added examples of real life things. Okay. Making the text accessible to both niche and general audiences. The primary purpose of the article is to inspire readers through the story of Ismail's rise from humble beginnings in street cricket to becoming a professional athlete feared by batters worldwide. Okay, the article carefully constructs a narrative that juxtaposes Ismail's early challenges with her later success, emphasizing how determination can lead to greatness. The denotative meaning, her literal achievements, serves as the backbone of the story, while the connotative aspects, which is her her drive, her resilience, and the gender dynamics of the journey, deepen the emotional impact for the reader. Okay, so we've got, okay, yes, now just practically, she has a lot of success, but these human elements of her drive, her resilience, the gender dynamics, this engages us as the audience. It draws us in, it carries us through. Okay. Now, this is what I meant with the deeper thinking, the going deeper. Okay. I want to see that you understand why it is relevant to more than just sports people. If you're saying it's only relevant to sports people, prove it. If you're saying it's not, it's relevant to more than sports people, prove it. And prove it from a deeper perspective than just because they use general language. Okay, what is it really? If something uses general language, does that mean you're necessarily going to read it? Probably not always. So the interview-based format allows Ismail's voice to come through, making the reader feel more connected to her story. The text emphasizes that success in sports and in life is not just about talent, but about perseverance in the face of adversity. And so here I have again used said. So I've spoken about the meaning, and here I've really connected to how the language has been used to create meaning, and to form that meaning. Now, lexical choices, the article's lexical choices create specific fields of meaning that are central to shaping the reader's understanding of Ismail's journey. The text frequently uses terms from the semantic field of speed and competition. Words like speed demon, foster, and competitor are not just literal descriptions of Ismail's skill as a fast bowler, they carry connotations of relentless drive and competitive spirit. So here I've again focused not just on what is being said, but what are the connotations? What does it make you think about Ismail? Ismail, to see that Ismail has this drive, that Ismail is a speed demon, is foster and foster. It gives you a positive view of who she is, which by the end of the article, we are hopefully, I believe they're wanting you to have a positive view of who Ismail is. Okay. This field of meaning connects to these words establish a narrative that goes beyond cricket, suggesting that Ismail's entire life has been shaped by her need to push forward and surpass limits. This field of meaning connects to a deeper connotation of striving for excellence, especially within a male-dominated sport. Additionally, the use of colloquial language such as "you won't be surprised" and "she was the only girl" brings an informal conversational tone to the narrative. This creates an inclusive atmosphere that makes a reader feel personally involved in Ismail's journey. Okay, so here I could have actually at this point connected the personal pronouns directly addressing the audience. Okay, breaking down barriers and establishing a connection between her and the audience. The juxtaposition of conversational phrases with terms from the sports lexicon enhances this accessibility, allowing readers to engage with her story whether they are familiar with cricket or not. Okay, so again, I've brought it back to I am making the argument that my audience is broader than just people who are interested in cricket. Now, some structural decisions. I want you to notice how the first sentence here is my topic sentence, and it kind of directs where my paragraph's going. The structure of the article plays a significant role in how the audience perceives Ismail's journey, and my whole paragraph talks about that. By arranging the narrative chronologically, just want to double check that it is chronological. Yeah, so we've got chronological start, and then we go back in time to almost like a flashback. We used to play cricket in the street, and she was the only girl. Then there's more about her. I mean, it is mostly chronological. It is mostly chronological. Okay. The text takes the reader from her childhood playing cricket in the streets of South Africa to eventual success as an internationally recognized cricketer. This progression highlights the transformative power of perseverance. Okay. And it is inspirational, with each stage of her life representing a new hurdle that Ismail overcomes. So at each point, it's this happened, here's the hurdle. Okay. Um, which gives the text a more personal and authentic feel, which lets us connect to the reader, or which lets us connect to Ismail as a person, which is really what the writer is trying to do. The interview format also contributes to this by presenting personal anecdotes from Ismail, which give the text a more personal and authentic feel. The article uses juxtaposition to emphasize Ismail's development. For instance, descriptions of her playing with improvised equipment like crates and taped tennis ball contrast with the later mention of sponsorships and professional contracts. The structural choice highlights the connotative meaning of her success. It's not just about her technical skill, but also about overcoming material limitations. The reader understands that her achievements are extraordinary not only because of her speed and talent, but because of the obstacles she had to surpass to reach the professional level. The structure, therefore, mirrors Ismail's personal transformation and serves the article's inspirational purpose. So I'm linking it right back to my introductory paragraph. Okay. The use of direct quotes and interactional features is key to fostering a connection between the reader and Ismail's story. By including Ismail's own words, the article provides a reader with insight into her thoughts and feelings, making the narrative more engaging and authentic. So you'll see that authenticity is quite a big thing. For example, Ismail's quote, "I had to make a decision between working and playing professional cricket," gives the reader a glimpse into the pivotal moment in her life, allowing them to empathize um, with her difficult choices. This conversational tone is reinforced by the use of pronouns like you in phrases such as "you won't be surprised to hear." Okay, so I actually added the you in the interactional features and pragmatics. This direct address creates a sense of familiarity and involvement, as if the reader is part of a conversation. Okay. Furthermore, the rhetorical question, a what, when referring to Ismail's first job, momentarily disrupts the narrative flow. So I said it's creating this jarringness, um, inviting the reader to pause and reflect on unfamiliar details. Okay. The use of pragmatics ensures that the reader remains engaged and informed, while the article's use of denotation and connotation, explaining Ismail's job as speed point technician, highlights how her early career literally involved speed. Look at that. And speed is a repeated word, but also symbolizes, well, say it there instead of else, her personal and athletic momentum. Okay, so we see she was a speed point technician, but now it's moved to a different form of speed. This deeper layer of meaning allows the audience to appreciate both her professional and personal growth. And this is how we've used pragmatics, which is the study of meaning and context, to kind of show that there is a deeper connection with the audience. The article's grammar and syntax, just those who are on Facebook, who was it that asked? Bobby, are you seeing what I mean by the bigger thinking, the deeper connections? So, for example, the sentence, for 7 years, she worked and played international cricket on the side until a sponsorship allowed Cricket South Africa to contract 6 female cricketers, mirrors the complexity of juggling work and cricket while trying to make it as a professional athlete. The use of these varied sentence structures enhances the juxtaposition between the early stages of Ismail's Ismail's career and her later professional success, reflecting both the challenges and rewards of her journey. These structural choices keep the reader engaged and reinforce the article's message of persistence and progress. So I've got, again, what are we trying to do? What is it the grammar and syntax leads to something? What does it lead to? Achieving the purpose. Okay. So the purpose is to share the message, to bring across a message. We're not just trying to speak to an audience for the sake of an audience. We're trying to speak to an audience to communicate a message with them. The combination of linguistic choices, structural decisions, and the personal nature of the interview format work together to create an engaging and inspirational narrative. And again, this is my topic sentence. Okay, so I'm saying I'm looking at linguistic choices, structural decisions, and personal nature. And I'm basically taking all my things and I'm creating like a holistic look at all of it. This lexical field surrounding speed and competition, along with the connotation of Ismail's journey, help the reader to see her as not only a talented athlete, but as a symbol of resilience and determination. The conversational language and direct engagement with the audience make her story feel accessible, encouraging readers to view her success as something attainable. Meanwhile, the structure of the article, which contrasts Ismail's early challenges with her later achievements, emphasizes the theme of overcoming adversity. The use of denotation to explain Ismail's background and connotations of her competitive nature allowed the text to resonate on both literal and symbolic levels. Through this multi-layered approach, the article successfully informs and inspires, leaving readers with a deeper appreciation of Ismail's journey and the broader themes of gender, competition, and success in sports. Okay, now this paragraph is possibly the one that repeats the most from before. And I mean, I could have made it one with my conclusion, probably. In conclusion, the interview-based sports article featuring Shabnam Asmail, a effectively uses a combination of lexical fields, connotative meanings, juxtaposition, and varied sentence structure to engage and inspire its audience. By drawing the reader into Ismail's personal journey through the direct quotes and relatable language, the article highlights the broader themes of determination, success, and overcoming adversity in sports. The structure and linguistic decisions work together to make Ismail's story feel accessible and motivational, allowing the audience to connect with her triumphs and see her resilience as something worth aspiring to. Through these techniques, the text not only serves its informative purpose, but also leaves a lasting emotional impact on the reader, making Ismail's journey a source of inspiration for a wide audience. Okay, now that was not the only way to do that. Different people will do it differently. It's just that I built my thesis, my whole essay was built on the premise that it is a broad audience and it is deeper than it looks. Okay. And we're actually trying to emphasize this resilience, this determination. Okay. Now, do you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that? Do you want me to quickly go through the mark scheme and mark this? I think I'm going to do it. Okay. So if I look at this, understanding of text, meaning, context, audience, and effective reference to characteristic features. I do think that I had an effective reference to characteristic features. I don't think I had insightful reference to characteristic features, because I didn't look at enough the features of the text. Yes, we can look at that. Absolutely. Now, in terms of understanding of the text, I do think that it was sophisticated, but I'm not going to push myself up. I'm going to give myself a 4 there. Now, in terms of choices of form, structure, and language and how they produce meaning and style, I thought that the structure was very effective. Elements of form, structure, and language for analysis, I think I was lacking a few things there, but the things that I did select, I selected very specifically, and I didn't select too many things. So I would give myself between here and here. Okay, now that's going to affect this mark over here. Now, detailed awareness of writer's stylistic choices, including how style relates to audience and shapes meaning, I think that that was up here. Uses precise, so we're looking at appropriate language to link evidence with explanatory comments. Let's just see. So we're looking at the terminology game. Yeah, so I would probably give myself an 18. So 18 plus 4. I might even give myself a 17 plus 4. Okay. Now let us look at shadows. It's Shadow Studios. I don't know why I said Seed of Success. I have no idea. Okay. So, I felt like you had a clear understanding of the text, maybe leaning towards detailed. And in terms of your reference to characteristic features, I actually think you were quite strong there. So I'm going to give you a 4 there as well. Okay. So you're going to have a 4 for this, for the left-hand column. Now, in terms of your right-hand column, your AO3, I liked your structure. I thought it was quite coherent. I found it easy to follow. I found it detailed. Yeah, so I'm going to put you over there for this point. Then effective selection of, so we're looking at elements of form, structure, and language for analysis that you selected. Let me just double check here. Okay, so you selected some good features, right? But the problem is that you selected them without a broader thing that you were trying to prove. And this is the thing, like I've actually never really seen someone say, write according to a very specific thesis statement, write a thesis statement. Like I know I do that, but I tell my students to do that. But honestly, it gets this, it decides what you're going to select, because there are so many things that you can select. So which ones are you going to select? You're going to select things that are going to build your argument. Okay, build what you're trying to say. Now, you've got this understanding of audience, you've got an understanding of how the stylistic choices are going to shape, are determined by your audience. But the stylistic choices, I don't feel like you've taken the stylistic choices and looked at how it affected the meaning as much. And so I didn't think link the points I made as well as I could have. No, I don't think that you linked the points you made as well as you could have, because I don't think you had an overarching theme really. Um, what is your overarching theme? What argument are you trying to bring? What is trying to be achieved here? Um, you say that the specific audience is sports enthusiasts. Prove that maybe. Connect your things to a thesis. Have some kind of thesis, a thing that holds it all together. Okay. Um, okay, so if I look here, even though I want to be like, okay, no, you, I honestly think that here your awareness of the stylistic choices was clear but not detailed. Okay. And in terms of your linking evidence with explanatory comments, I think you did well. Um, because we're looking at, are you using the right language? Like reminiscent, that is not the right language. This footnote is really just in your exam that they put this footnote. It's not in the original, but just overlook that. Monotonous is a favorite word of yours. Okay. So now if we take that, let's quickly see. I would say use is clear. So you're here in between this 4 and 5. So, but I would actually say that you're probably more, sorry, in between the 3 and 4. So I would probably give you a 14. So that's 18 out of 25. Okay. Maybe it might be 17 out of 25. But yeah. So that was actually pretty good. Well done. Okay. Does anyone have any further questions? If there are no further questions, I'm going to go have breakfast with two of my kids. Two of the five. The other three are at school. Two are homeschooled. Mm. Okay. So tomorrow, what time did I say we're meeting tomorrow? Do you guys remember? Okay, so tomorrow again, 11:30 to 1:30. Okay, you've already written it for your other tutor. Yeah. Okay, well, you can just bring it with, I suppose. Come join us. Oh, you've written it three times. Why did you write that paper 3 times? Um, don't redo it. We'll see if now that you've done it, see if you can glean anything extra from these sessions and see what you would change now that you know different things, because I don't think there is this competition between one tutor is better than the other. I think that we all have different things that we're geeking out on. Because I do not believe that your success is. I did all of the optional questions to practice different types of takes. That's very, very cool. Well done. Um, so I think bring that with you and see how you could improve it. Um, and if there is something to improve, then I can give you feedback, because then you've had feedback from your one tutor, and then you can get feedback from me, and then you've got different perspectives on the same thing, right? Um, and I mean, if you want to take the information you get here and just apply it to something else, go for it. And then you can share that with me and I'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so tomorrow we're doing 11:30. Okay. I'm going to add a couple of things to my website there where I sent you the thing. Just a couple of questions for you, how you're finding it, and things like that. So if you could fill that in for me, I'd really, really appreciate that. And then, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye.